Power Rangers Ritas Rewind was indeed very disappointing for me, at first. When I first saw its trailer, my mind immediately went to TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That game is my favorite beat 'em up that I've ever played, so naturally I was pretty hyped for this game. I even watched a few episodes of the first season in anticipation for the release, and yeah, I'm way too old for that show. So, why was it disappointing? First off, the movement. It's pretty slow. Running is at a good speed, walking though just feels sluggish. It's not that big of a problem when it comes to horizontal movement, since again I can just run, but vertical? It's just terrible. Attack speed is also not the best. I would prefer it to be just a tad faster, just a little bit. You can dodge in this game like you could in Shredder's Revenge, but you can't recover off the ground with a roll like you could in that game. That can lead to enemies keeping you locked in place, falling down over and over again. It's not that big of a deal since you technically can dodge out of the way once you're on your feet, but it's just another thing of the many that make this game feel worse than SR. Speaking of dodging, here the game wants you to use your dodge more like a parry. You can see this in the tutorial, since instead of just dodging out of the way of something, you're actually using it to avoid damage entirely. It's an interesting idea to be fair, but I don't think it's that easy to pull off to avoid damage in this game, though I honestly don't know how they could make it any better. Running and pressing the jump button was a way of both avoiding damage and attacking in SR. That option sadly is not in this new game, instead just leading to a large leap forward, which really just isn't as useful. You cannot hold down the attack button to get a stronger attack in this game. This really is missed when dealing with those putties that shield themselves with rocks, which are very reminiscent to the shield ninjas in SR. Here, you can just punch them a few times in a row to break their guard, but that gets a lot harder to do when there's more enemies around you. You can go behind them pretty easily since they will stand in their guarding position for a while once you punch them, which is a cool design choice, but I still would have liked the option for a heavy swing. This also would help you with dealing with large group of enemies, something that I think this game has more of than SR did, or at least they seem to be larger groups of enemies. Grabbing enemies does seem to be the same in both games in theory, but in practice it just seems less reliable of an option here. A lot of the times I go up to the enemy to grab them and the ranger just kinda walks around them, not grabbing them. Other times I will grab them without even trying, which is a bit confusing. The rising attack is now done by pressing the up and attack button together instead of the attack button alongside with the jump button. This means that I often do the attack by accident since, sometimes I want to move up on the screen and I'm also pressing the attack button. I don't understand why it wouldn't be like it was before, since that just felt really good to pull off the way it was. Mostly because the buttons are right next to each other, so it's incredibly easy to chain a normal attack into a rising attack by simply moving my thumb over the jump button while I'm pressing attack. And here it even feels a bit more precise to do just in general. I often try to use the D-pad while using this move, which does seem to work for the most part, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Jump attacks are now based on what direction you're holding when you do them. You can do a dive kick by holding forward, or an attack that goes straight down by holding down. There is no slow falling attack like there was in SR if you double jumped and then attacked. I really don't mind this change, the only time I miss it is when I'm fighting those dumb bird guys. The super meter has also changed. Instead of having 3 charges to it, it only has 1, but getting hit will not reset it. This means that supers will be a little less common. I find supers not that useful in this game. They won't take out a 3-headed putty if it's at full health, and that just feels wrong. Your taunt will fill up the meter like it did in SR, but here it fills up a very little amount at a time. I do like the posings though, it does make me feel like I'm in the show. All those things may be small when viewed in isolation, but together they make for a worse experience than I was expecting. It simply lacks the fluidity that SR had, which is a real shame because that is one of my favorite things about that game. We also have all of our moves that we can do from the get-go, unlike in SR where you would unlock different super options as you played, like the aerial or hyper mode variants. We also don't increase our health bar or level up or any stuff like that, although we do get new variants of enemies, but those just aren't as many as there was in SR. We got the normal putties, which are the basic enemies of this game. They punch you and they're the basic enemies of this game. The rock holding putties that I already talked about. The spear putties that will run at you like the spear ninjas in SR. The birds, which I kind of hate them. They will hover over you and then slam to the ground, and they can also throw feathers at you from afar. I think these are like from a different season than season 1, which Okay, I don't really care about that. The three-headed putties are big old guys that show up from time to time. They can grab you and they have a lot of health. These will often just show up one at a time, but there is one single time in the game where there's two of them on screen. There are also these bomb putties that will throw big bombs at you, and these do hurt quite a bit. We also have clown and punk putties. I think it's just an aesthetical change. I didn't notice them doing anything different from the normal basic putties though. I will say I do like punching the punk ones. I don't know why, it just kind of feels satisfying. Black and gray putties exist. The black ones will throw bones at you, and the gray ones will do the dive kick at you, which I don't really know if that warrants its own variant, but okay. I didn't even notice them doing that move the first time I played through the game. Enemies seem to hover around you a lot more than they did in SR, to the point where it just feels suffocating because of the low movement speed. Like, I just want to get some breathing room here, but they're moving with me like they're locked to my gravitational pull or something. Once again, another reason why having the heavy swing in this game would have been great. Hitboxes are a little goofy at times. Like here, I just passed through them. I don't know why that attack didn't connect. That's weird. Or here in the final boss encounter, I just seem to slide right into this corner when hitting these things, and it's terrible. I just want to hit the thing, but I can't because there's no hitbox to hit there for some reason, so I have to move out of the corner with the very low movement speed. And I know this is a very small thing. I have to move out of the corner to hit the thing again, but again, this is one more thing to dislike about this game. As I played more and more, I started to actually hate the game, which is way worse than just being disappointed by it. It just didn't feel good to play. It's too slow, it's too stiff, it's too... What the f happened to the Zord levels? I'll talk more about these in a sec, but damn, bruh! Why can I get one-shotted here? I only have 2 lives per continue, and I don't think there's a way to get any more of those, so, you know, getting one-shotted, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's already pretty bad as a concept, but since I have such little lives, it's even worse. It's just all these little things that are just wrong with the game. It sucks. All the Rangers play exactly the same, by the way, unless the differences are so subtle to just not be noticeable at all. I hate to do it again, but in Shredder's Revenge, the different characters have different things that make them feel different from each other. Mikey is fast, Donnie has range, Leo has the best double jump attack, Raph is red, the bunny can do air combos, Girl Shredder moves faster the higher the hit counter is, the new green dude can do air dodges. There are all these things that make them more or less desirable from each other in certain circumstances other than just their color. Here, it's just their color and their animations are a little different. They're also different in the Zord levels. Is that what they're called? Are they called Zords? I don't know, man. I'm not a Power Rangers fan. I haven't watched this shit since I was like 10. I don't remember the terms, man. I think it's Zords. I don't know. Megazord? That's the big one. Also, they're only different. The only real different one is the pink one because it can fly. I guess the hitboxes are bigger or smaller on them too, I guess. I don't know. It's such a shame, man. I really wanted to like this game. I was very excited for it, but there's just too many things that's wrong with it. They also won't shut the f up. Every time they get hit, they're asking for help or some shit like that. Stop it. Get more voice lines for them or just have them grunt more instead of actually saying something. Little help, team. Oh, my team, I need help. Shut up. There's no, I'm playing solo. There's no help coming, bro. Oh, but the nostalgia. Shut up about nostalgia. Shove this fucking nostalgia up your ass. If that's what you want from a product, then just go watch the show. I have 0 nostalgia for the first season of this shit, on account that I wasn't even born when it was airing. I also have 0 nostalgia for the 80s TMNT series. But you know what? That didn't stop me from loving SR, because it's a good game in its own right. What happened here? Did the B team work on this game? It feels like an actual old beat 'em up with limited mechanics instead of just being inspired by them and building something better. How do you go from this to this? Why did you regress so much, Digital Eclipse? You did such a good job on Shredder's Revenge. I don't feel like setting up the camera, so here's a picture of me. Let's just roleplay real quick. Digital Eclipse? Wait a minute. But this review of SR says that these other guys made the game. Wait a minute. Did Digital Eclipse, like, port the game to the Switch or something? Like, No, they didn't. What the f? Why did I assume they made SR? When I saw the trailer and saw their name, I specifically thought to myself, oh, this is made by the same people that made SR. I know I've seen this logo on something TMNT related before. I don't know them from anything else, I don't think, right? Well, let me check. Oh, they didn't make SR. They didn't work on SR. They put together the Cowabunga collection. It all makes sense now. This revelation honestly made me rethink things. I legitimately went in with higher hopes than I should have because I misremembered who worked on SR. With this information in mind, I stopped trying to play the game like I play SR and started to treat it like an old school beat 'em up. And it felt better. Their marketing did mention that this is basically the game in the 90s that the Power Rangers never got. Which, I mean, yeah, if this came out in the 90s, this would be a pretty good game by the standards of the 90s, especially if it came out in the arcade. Hell yeah, dude. Look, the problems I brought up are still legitimate problems. The game would be a lot better if the Rangers were different from each other, but I do understand why they aren't. Context matters and can really change our perspective. I went from thinking this game was a regression in game development from a studio that I know could do better, to a neat game that wasn't too bad. This game also heavily benefits from co-op. Most of the problems aren't as noticeable if you're splitting the difference with somebody. Slow movement doesn't matter that much if you're not dealing with all the enemies by yourself. A lack of a heavy swing isn't that bad if you have 5 other Rangers with you. Which I mean I didn't, but this guy did, and I'm stealing his footage. Now, from here on out, I want to mention stuff that I genuinely liked about the game. Not just because I figured out who actually made this game, but some of these things I liked even when I thought it was made by the same people as SR. First, the presentation. The game looks and sounds great. The sprites could be a tad bigger, I think that would be better, but it's not that big of a deal. Nothing but praise for the soundtrack though, it's great, and I don't know who made it, but it could be the same people that worked on SR for as far as I'm concerned. It's about the same level of quality there. The game looking and sounding this way is both a good and bad thing because I'm sure I'm not the only one that took a look at this thing and thought that this was made by the same people that were responsible for SR, and I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to bother even checking, they're just going to look at it and assume, which is a good thing for getting people interested in the game, but, you know, I mean, just rewatch the first half of this review to find out why that could be a bad thing. It seems like the Steam reviews agree with me, because I think literally every single negative one, almost like in the first paragraph, mentions Shredder's Revenge, which, yeah. I really did like the Zord and the Megazord segments, but the normal Zord, like I mentioned, did get harder as the game went on, and it was just to an unpleasant amount, regardless of who made the game. The shooting parts are pretty fun, with a healthy amount of power-ups like doubling damage and having missile lock-ons and a shield at one point. Speaking of power-ups, by the way, in the normal beat-em-up sections, there's this one power-up that makes you a lot faster, and I believe also makes you invincible, although I'm not exactly sure on that. And I feel like that speed is more so what the game should have had for its default speed. And again, looking at the Steam reviews, it seems like a lot of them agree with me about that as well. Though, looking at it a bit more critically, that might be a little too fast. Maybe just dial that speed a bit lower, make that the default. That would have been better, but I doubt they're going to make that tweak in an update. But like I mentioned before, instant kills can happen and they're just not fair at all, and it sucks. The Megazord segments are a lot of fun. You can actually lose in these segments, but I mean, it's Power Rangers. They almost never lose once the big FU robots come out, so it's lore friendly or something, I don't know. It's kind of like Punch-Out. It's basically Punch-Out. You know, very simple, but still a lot of fun. In co-op though, the controls get swapped around with the players, so that could be less fun depending on who you're playing with. I honestly can't think of a better solution though for having a co-op game have a big robot that's just one, you know? So I guess that's the best they could do. I've heard a lot of people complaining about the Megazord. Skill issue, it's really easy. It's just done and over really fast, so I don't know why people are like that upset. It's just so fast, you're just done with it so quickly if you know what you're doing. And it's just Punch-Out, dude. But again, I didn't play the 6 Ranger co-op, so I don't know, maybe I would dislike these segments a lot more if I had to rely on my 6-year-old cousin to pass these segments. In a few parts of the game, you'll encounter this time disruptor. which will rewind time after a few seconds until you're able to destroy it. The damage you do to it won't reset once time is reset, so, you know, you can just destroy it at your leisure. Everything else does get reset, including your health and super meter, so that's cool, I guess. Neat segments, neat idea. I don't think they were fully fleshed out, though. They're kind of cool, but I mean that's pretty much it. They're just kind of cool. Just neat idea, but yeah. I did notice on the harder difficulty, it rewinds more time, so but it just kind of wastes your time. It doesn't make things like actually harder. Hey look, it's the Turtles! Neat cameo! There are also these arcade games that you can get, and I hear these are 100% original games, not pre-existing ones, which, I mean, could have fooled me, because they seem like games that would have existed. These are harmless, it's just a little extra thing. Some of the bosses here are just as creative as the ones in SR for the most part. Goldar is probably the most straightforward one, which makes sense because he is the very first one. He has a fireball and an AoE attack. He will also summon enemies for you to fight, and while they are summoned, he is invincible, so you have to take them out. Chunky Chicken, what a name. Chunky Chicken can teleport using his large clippers for almost guaranteed hits on you. He also has a butt stomp. He ends up running away before you can actually beat him. Not too long after that though, you will be fighting him again, this time with Turkey Jerk. I don't know who that is. I didn't get that far in the series. Chunky will do the exact same moves as before, while Turkey will dash at you and throw bombs. These two have tag team attacks they can do, like using portals to have Turkey dash at you continuously, or spin around and play laser jump rope. This boss feels the most like a boss from SR to me. Bones has a few different fights in the same level. The first one has him duplicating himself, kind of like Shredder does in SR, except he's just kind of standing there, waiting for you to fight the right one. After beating him, he is destroyed, but his bones will fly away to reconstruct somewhere else. Next fight has him armless, he will shoot lasers at you, and he will play bone jump rope with you. He also has, like, is this poison? It's like this blue thing. I don't know if it's poison or bubbles, I don't know. The next fight is just against his head, and this fight involves mostly dodging attacks rather than actually hitting him to do damage. I mean, you do that, but most of the time you're avoiding damage from him. Madame Woe is probably the worst one on account that I didn't even remember she existed. She shoots ice at you, which you can parry with your dodge, and she can grab you. I'm not sure if you actually can dodge the grab. Maybe if you press the dodge button and it like collides with you. I'm not sure though. I've never seen anybody not get hit by this grab, which kind of sucks. Oh, and she can summon waves at you, which is cool, I guess. Then there's the Green Ranger. He seems to be more able than other bosses when it comes to hand-to-hand fighting, but that might just be because his moveset is just the normal Ranger moveset. I do really like how he uses his Dragon Zord, not just in this boss fight, but throughout the level itself. You actually get to play as the Green Ranger once you beat the game, and this really made me wish that the Rangers were actually different from each other besides just being a color palette swap, but you know, that's not the case. This isn't part of the same boss fight, but later on in the Zord level, you fight him and his Dragon Zord at the same time, which is pretty neat. You have to shoot at him instead of the Dragon Zord at certain points to actually do damage. It's cool. It's very simple, but I like the idea. I've heard people saying that they don't like this fight because it's too hard. Again, it's a skill issue. It's done and over with so fast. So fast, and I'm sure it's even faster done when playing with more people, so I like this part even when I was still thinking that the wrong people made the game. The final boss is against Robo Rita. You start off with having to destroy these boxes, and hey look, we're actually in the beginning of the game. That's neat, I guess. I mean, it's not literally the beginning of the game, because the beginning of the game was in the far-fetched future of 2023 last year, and this is like taking place in like the same day or week as in, 1993, so don't think too hard about it. It's a dumb beat 'em up game. Anyways, you have to destroy these things, and then once that's done, you have to bounce this energy ball back at her a few times. Not too hard, but I did notice that it is pretty precise when it comes to the timing. A few times I felt like, nah, my punch should have hit it, but it didn't, and I got hit, so We eventually have the second version of her launching the thing at you. The best way to hit it here is by using the rising attack, or at least I think it's the easiest way to hit it. I tried just punching it straight forward, and I just could not get it to work, so yeah, just do the rising attack. After defeating Robo Rita, The game's over. Yeah, I was expecting like one last Megazord fight or a fight against normal Rita or something. But no, it just ends right there. A little anticlimactic, maybe just lacking in subversion. Which, I mean, I guess in and of itself is a subversion. There was an update that happened right before I fought the final boss, and shortly after that, I realized who actually made the game. I don't know if it was just my change in perspective that made me enjoy the game more, or if the patch tweaked something that just made it feel better. I'm not sure. Regardless, this game is fun, and you should try it out. But only do so when the game is on sale, because as of now, it's $35, and that's just way too much for this game. I mean, there's pretty much no extra content besides the main mode, which is only like 15 levels. And I mean, there is a speedrunning option, but that's it. Like, yeah, 35, that's way too much, dude. You know what game is $10 cheaper, but still a just better experience overall with more content? And it's still cheaper even if you decide to buy all of the DLCs for even more content? Do I even need to say it? Shredder's Revenge is just the better game, and if I had to pick one of the two to purchase right now, as things are right now, I'm picking SR every single time, including the DLCs. If you already have that game though, and don't mind the price on this one, then yeah, give it a try. I do hope this game keeps getting updates like SR did. That was like the one thing I was looking forward to about this game before I realized that, oh no, that's not made by the same team. And now I'm actually kind of worried because I don't know if it's gonna get any updates, like major updates in content like SR did. I really do hope that it does though. I would love to see other Rangers getting added into the game, or a survival mode like in SR, or the ability to change Rangers costumes. You know, give me options to pick from like Time Force and Wild Force, Ninja Storm, and or Dino Thunder. Now that's some shit that I'm actually nostalgic for. And yes, I will shove said nostalgia right up my ass like I told you to do. I ain't gay, and I'll prove it to you. Also throw in some SPD just for good measure. They had cool designs too. TLDW, if Shredder's Revenge is an 8, this game is a 6.5, maybe a 7.